Welcome to this special show where we are speaking with the management of IHH Healthcare, one of the largest private healthcare groups globally. The Malaysian-based company operates over 80 hospitals across 10 countries, spanning the entire healthcare spectrum from hospitals to diagnostics. In India, IHH's largest presence is through its acquisition of a 31% stake in Fortis Healthcare, completed in November 2018 for around 4,000 crores. Besides Fortis's 28 healthcare facilities, IHH also operates Gleneagles hospitals in Chennai, Mumbai, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Additionally, they have a pan-India footprint in diagnostics through Fortis's diagnostic arm, Agilus Diagnostics. We have with us Dr. Prem Nair joining in from IHH to discuss their operations in India and to take us through their plans. Dr. Nair, welcome to the show. Let's begin with Fortis. You hold 31% stake in Fortis. You acquired the company, IHH acquired the company in November 2018. Since then, the parameters of Fortis have improved dramatically. For example, the stock price is up around 2.5 times. Revenue has risen, margins have improved. A part of it is also because of the healthcare boom in India. But if you could just give us a sense in terms of IHH's contribution to the Fortis improvement.
Yes, so we came in 2018, we acquired a stake in Fortis, and as you have rightly said, all the operational metrics, the financial metrics have improved tremendously. And I think a large part of the credit must go to the team that we put into Fortis, Dr. Ashutosh and his team. They have done very well. And, you know, other than just operational and financial metrics, you have to look at the clinical quality in Fortis, how that has improved, patient experience. These are all the important things in healthcare today, right? So I think we control Fortis, right? We have got our directors. I'm the vice chairman of Fortis. We provide a lot of support to Fortis in their growth. But Fortis is really today running on its own engine. If you look at all the acquisitions that they have made, Agilus is coming up. It's all through their own internal accruals, right? They've got debt headroom. So I would say Fortis today, and their EBITDA is, you know, the 20s now. So they've improved a lot, right? And it's a great partnership, IHH and Fortis.
Okay, but obviously the big elephant in the room has been the open offer, which has been pending since December of 2018. The Supreme Court did clear it, and there were some pending litigations which were cleared in, I think, 2022. But there is a particular litigation with regards to a forensic audit, which is pending in the Delhi High Court.
Yeah.
Give us an update on where the open offer stands.
Okay, so I think this matter has wound its way through the courts, Supreme Court, right? And now it's with the Delhi High Court. I would say a lot of the issues have been resolved, right? And this is probably the last final matter, the forensic by Delhi High Court, which is ongoing now, all right? I won't comment on it, right? Because it is going through the courts at the moment. And we anticipate that once it is resolved, we let the court process, you know, go through its, you know, usual route. We will, and then we'll have to decide what to do next. The open offer was at $170. Fortis today is at 600 plus, right? So we will have to make a decision on how we move forward. There are many ways in which we can increase our stake, as you know, right? But one thing's for sure, we will be staying in India and we will be staying with Fortis.
So there's no chance of selling out that 31% stake?
Absolutely not, right? We have got Fortis, we've got Gleneagles, we've got twin engines of growth in India. And given the attractiveness of the Indian private healthcare market, we intend to stay and grow in India.
But what do you think about this long journey of litigations, which is still not over at this point in time? Was there a time where IHH rethought its decision of acquiring Fortis?
Well, you know, to be very honest, I think there were times when we were wondering what we got into, right? But over the years, most of the matters have progressed and resolved, you know, one by one. There were several matters going on at the same time, right? So most of them have been resolved, right? And I think we feel, right? I don't want to judge what's going to happen, but we feel that we are at the tail end of this matter, all right? And we really will have a chance to go ahead, right? Both with Fortis and with Gleneagles, right? And increase our presence in India.
So when do you expect to hear back on the open offer?
No, can't predict that for the moment.
Probably by the end of this year
Hopefully,
or next year?
6 months to a year, hopefully.
Okay. Well, this is a hypothetical situation, but if in case the open offer does get approved,
Yes.
like you mentioned, the price was 170 rupees. Today, it's over 550 or 600 odd rupees for Fortis in terms of a price. What will IHH do? Will there be a revision of an open offer price on the higher side? What is the decision?
Okay, given that we would like to increase our stake, I think we would have to revise, right, our offer to the other shareholders. So that's probably what it will take for us to do it.
Okay, so you will probably revise the price higher for the open offer if in case you do get that permission to go through. On the other hand, if in case the open offer does face hurdles again, what will IHH do? Will it go through any other route in order to increase its stake? Because currently you do have minority stake.
Yes. Well, first of all, I must say we are happy with what we have at the moment. As I said, we control Fortis, right? Fortis is improving year by year, operational metrics, financial metrics. There's no restriction to their growth. As you can see, they bought a hospital in Manesar. They disposed of 2 hospitals in the south, right? And they're looking at more acquisitions. They've got a plan to expand by 2,000 beds from their current 5,000 beds purely by brownfield expansion.
Correct.
Right? So that's their same store growth, essentially. Right? So Fortis can continue to grow, all right? And we hope there will come a day when we have, years down the road, when we have between the 2 entities about 10,000 beds, right? That will bring us maybe into the top 3, right, hospital groups in the country. That's our aspiration, right? So I think Fortis can, even with the stake we have now and the current growth trajectory of Fortis, it'll continue to grow, right? But of course, we would like to increase our stake, either increase the open offer, we can do a creep, all right?
Creeping acquisition, 5% every year.
We can do that, 5% every year, we can do that. Down the road, maybe we can look at folding Gleneagles into Fortis. That's another option. Not envisaged at the moment because both of them are growing very nicely.
Okay.
Right? And we can talk a little bit about Gleneagles as well because that's another growth story.
Okay, so a buyback, creeping acquisition, all of these are probably on the cards if in case the open offer does not go through as planned.
Yeah.
Okay, and possible merger of Gleneagles as well as Fortis could be something that you could consider later.
Yeah.
Okay, how is Gleneagles doing? Because we have the numbers for Fortis, Gleneagles is not listed.
Well, yeah, so Gleneagles is not listed, but Gleneagles is our international brand. So that's the first thing I must say. It's a very well-known brand, started 65 years ago in Singapore. We have Gleneagles in Hong Kong, we have Gleneagles in Malaysia, we have Gleneagles in East Malaysia, even in Brunei. It's a joint venture with the Brunei government. So Gleneagles is a well-known brand. So we decided when we had to, after we bought the promoter's stake last year, exactly 1 year ago, we renamed it from Global to Gleneagles.
Okay.
Right? So firstly, it's a very well-known brand. Secondly, if you look at the operating and financial metrics of Gleneagles, right? They were, when we went in, EBITDA was, in the single digits. Today it's in the mid-teens, right? It's improving. We have revamped all the hospitals. If you now walk into the lobby of Gleneagles Hospital, you see the consistent Gleneagles look, right?
Correct.
We have brought in a lot of equipment, CAPEX, right? MRI, CT scans, PET CTs, all these are equipment that you'll find in a Gleneagles Hospital today. And they do some really cutting-edge work. Gleneagles does one of the highest transplants in the country.
Okay.
And not just liver transplant. In Mumbai here, they do limb transplants, people who have got severe limbs. So very, very high quality work is going on in Gleneagles Hospital as well. So
just on, the branding part of it, because we do understand that there's a litigation with regards to the Fortis brand as well. You had that problem with the diagnostics arm and then you rebranded it to Agilus. But your Fortis brand, what is the current pending litigation? And is there a plan to rebrand the Fortis hospital chain in India?
We would like to keep the Fortis name, right? It's a well-known name, right? But you're right, there is also litigation involving the Fortis. There was also SRL, and that's why we rebranded it to Agilus.
Yes.
So that's also winding its way through the courts, all right? And we will see the outcome, all right? the Fortis name may be up for sale, all right? And if possible, we will acquire it.
And by when would we hear on this particular litigation?
I think that's also within the next 1 year.
Okay. And what about the forensic audit? What kind of audit is going on when it comes to this forensic audit case?
That's with the Delhi High Court at the moment. So I'll just leave it there.
Okay, all right. Well, we spoke about the entire rebranding exercise, and that's what took place with Agilus, your diagnostic arm, and now we have Fortis, which is buying the remaining stake of around, I think, 31% of private equity. What do you feel about that, considering that the private equities did not get any kind of exit since 2012?
Okay, so my personal view on the diagnostic business is that it is integral to a healthcare delivery organization, to large healthcare organizations. And so in all our countries, Singapore, Malaysia, and Turkey, our 3 big countries, the labs are the biggest, all right? And they support the hospitals. They have considerable outreach as well. And likewise in India, we need to have a big lab for our 2 entities, all right? So Agilus is what it is, and we like to keep it. And hence, when the IPO did not materialize, we encourage Fortis to take it, right? Agilus, and that's what's happening now. Agilus is probably the second or the third biggest lab in the country, by my reckoning. And we again certainly would like to build it up. And the lab business today is just not consumer business, which is very big in India, not necessarily so in other countries. It's very big in supporting hospitals, right, for the high-end work they do. But there's an element of the laboratory business that is very exciting. And this is what I call the high-tech lab business. Molecular genetics, genomics, precision medicine, and all of these are required to support oncology primarily.
Correct.
And oncology, as you know, if you look at the specialty mix of private hospitals in India, right, used to be heavily weighted towards cardiology and neurology, neurosurgery. Today it's shifting to oncology. And oncology requires accurate diagnosis, all right, before treatment can commence. And that's where molecular genetics, precision medicine comes in. So we would like to bring up our laboratories to that level. And for that reason, we have also created IHH laboratories, all right, which is at the group level, all right, and will support the in-country laboratories, all right, to move up the technology ladder.
Okay. You did mention that the IPO for Agilus has been put on the back burner. Any plans to revive it?
No, it's off for the moment. Yep.
It's off forever or for the moment?
Yeah. Well, I would say I don't see an IPO happening.
Why is that?
Well, because Agilus would now become a fully owned subsidiary of Fortis.
So you would you look to monetize the diagnostic business?
Not really. I think our plan is to have a fully integrated healthcare organization, right? Like in all the other countries. Our laboratories are very well integrated into the business. And I think we would like to do the same.
All of them are wholly owned subsidiaries world over. So you want that similar plan to be executed in India as well.
Yeah, and we want IHH labs to have oversight to develop, to help them all grow.
Okay.
We want to set up reference labs in India, in Malaysia, in Turkey, all right, to do some of these things.
But the entire business itself has been underperforming as compared to, say, the other peers in the business.
Yeah.
You know, revenue was up only around 2%. Margins are lower than what the peer set is. What is the plan to improve it?
So, Agilus, if you look at their business compared to the other labs, they were very heavily into consumer laboratory business, right? They, to a certain extent, I would say they maybe even overextended, right, into the consumer business. So we have now got a business plan. This year is a year of consolidation, and you will find that Agilus, the operating metrics are already improving. We are seeing it now, all right? And then we want to reposition them to support our large hospitals, all our hospitals. We got Fortis, we got Gleneagles, and to go for more of the hospital business.
All right, lots of more questions with regards to IHH and their plans in India. We'll take a short break and be back with more. Welcome back. You're still tuned into the special show. We're in conversation with the management of IHH Healthcare. Now, what I am gathering is that you're extremely bullish on the India story, the India healthcare story when it comes to hospitals as well as diagnostics for IHH. You're not looking to sell out your stake in Fortis either. Give us a sense in terms of the expansion plans that you have in India. You have around over 30 facilities,
34 hospitals
facilities
between our two assets. Yeah. So, I've been on record as saying India is a fantastic market for growth in healthcare, right? Even the government, I noticed, I was looking at some of the budget statements and all that, they're also pumping more money into healthcare. So I think there's a general lifting of the whole healthcare industry. But India, private healthcare will always be very big, right? And supported by payers as well, right? So we see India, right, as probably our biggest growth market. India's got all the secular trends, right, that favor this, right? And we know that increasingly affluent population, middle income, maybe the largest middle income population in the world, 300, 400 million people, all right? Chronic diseases, unfortunately, genetically, there are lots of chronic diseases in India as well. Payers, all right, increasing payer market. And here you have got everything from civil service insurance to government insurance schemes to local private to international insurance. More and more expatriates come into the Bupas, the Ekta PPPs, they're all here. So we see all of them in India, right? So I think payer market. So these are all the factors that I think would be very good for growth. So we intend to ride that growth, right? And we currently are in 12 of the 28 Indian states.
Okay.
That's slightly less than half. So that gives you an indication of how we can expand, right? For example, Gleneagles is predominantly in the south. They can expand further down to Kerala, to Karnataka, to Telangana. They can expand there. Fortis is predominantly a northern hospital group, right? There's some sharing in Mumbai and Bangalore, right? But expansion will take place there. You can still expand within tier 1 cities. That's a question I'm always asked. Would you go down to tier 2, tier 3?
Yeah.
I say there are still opportunities in tier 1. Manesar recently was a very good example because the tier 1 cities are also expanding.
Correct.
Look at NCR, right? And look at Mumbai, right?
But along with that comes a lot of competition as well. You've seen private equity pump in around $5.5 billion just in 1 year, and record deals which are taking place in the private equity side. With that, there's a lot of competition which is rising in the private healthcare space. How do you think IHH is going to combat that?
So I've always told my team, if there's competition, it's good. You don't want to go into an uncompetitive market, right? Competition is good up to a certain point, right? So fine, we have got very strong competitors, but we are standing on our own, right? And we are doing well. Fortis today is not just in tier 1 cities. If you look at Punjab, Amritsar, Mohali, Chandigarh, we are very big there as well. So we are already in some significant tier 2 cities. And a tier 2 city in India is like a metropolis in other countries. It's huge population. We have people who can afford healthcare. So we will look, we are not restricting ourselves just to the tier 1 cities. We will look at the good tier 2 cities. For example, if Gleneagles is going to go south, all right, it can go to Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, we are only in Chennai. We can go to Coimbatore. These are all hubs as well, industrial hubs, business hubs, right? So I think these are our plans. We think there are lots of opportunities.
Okay, so 4,000 beds is what you have currently. What would you like to increase it to? That's Fortis only.
Fortis will grow by another 2,000 beds in the next 5 years. Brownfield expansion. All right, this is the best form of expansion. Same store growth, Fortis will increase. All right. If we do some acquisitions along the way, we will add another 1,000, 2,000, right? And that's why I said between the two, we'll probably have about 10,000 beds in a few years' time.
Okay. About acquisitions, what is your plan when it comes to acquisitions in the Indian hospital market? Because it's ripe.
Yeah, it is.
But the valuations are high.
Yeah, but I tell you, Ekta, we are very, very disciplined about acquisitions, right? Because, firstly, we have so much opportunity in all our current hospitals to increase their capacities. And that's the best, right? You get immediate operating leverage. If I put 100 beds in a 200-bed hospital, my utilization of ICUs, my utilization of operating theaters of the machine goes up immediately, all right? Right? Occupancy goes up. So that's the best form, and we are committed to that. That's the first thing. For a strategic acquisition or a big acquisition to take place, we've got several criteria, all right? Firstly, it must be in a market or in an area, of course, there must be significant demand, all right? And of course, we look at the competitive situation. We want to get facilities that are of the highest clinical quality. We put a lot of emphasis on patient outcomes, all right? We've got, at the group level, we've got an entire medical group that looks at the quality in all our hospitals globally. So that's very important if you look at our acquisitions, right? Thirdly, of course, it must be accretive, right? Within 2 or 3 years, all right? So, and we recently made an acquisition in Penang. You must have read about it, right? It's almost 1 billion.
Yes.
Island Hospital, which adds a lot of value because it's a medical tourism hub. So we would also be looking at similar, right, kind of acquisitions in India.
So is that a space of growth that you're looking at, medical tourism in India, which Fortis is probably going to bank on?
India is a medical tourism hub, right?
Okay.
Why? Because there's good work done at very cost-effective rates. India is probably one, from a value-based healthcare perspective, India is right up there.
So so the valuations don't matter. I mean, is it a deterrent at all, considering that we're around 25-30 times in terms of some assets as compared to other Asian hospitals, which are anywhere between 10 to 20 times?
Yeah. Well, every deal that we look at is different. All right. It's not just valuations, right? Okay. I mentioned all the criteria, so we will look at it. If it's value accretive to us, or we can in a few years after that, all right, make it value accretive, then we will definitely look at it.
What's the size that you'd be looking at? How much are you looking to shell out for an acquisition?
We shelled out 1 billion recently. IHH has got considerable.
For an Indian asset.
Well, we have got the capability to do significant acquisitions.
Okay, all right. But while you are very bullish on the Indian hospital market, there is also the Supreme Court, which is probably looking at maybe even regulation of pricing.
Yes.
That is a possible deterrent. What's your view on that?
Okay, healthcare is a very regulated industry in all the markets that we operate. Price controls, India has had it for a long time in the drug area, right? Other countries, even Singapore, which is quite laissez-faire kind of an economy, has introduced controls on cancer drugs because the prices are so high, it's becoming difficult for the average person in the street to get decent cancer treatment. So they have started controlling things as well. Malaysia has had it as well. Malaysia controls prices for doctors' fees as we do in Singapore. So what I'm trying to say is we operate in a regulated environment for sure. Now, the Supreme Court matter, I believe, was a petition that went up, is being considered. It will take some time. But I believe that it is not possible, right, to have very tight controls on private healthcare simply because you will deter innovation, you will deter technology. I mean, look at Fortis, FMRI. They've just put in the Gamma knife, right? They've just put in the MR Linac, for which obviously there will have to be an uplift in the use of the technology, in the trained physicians. Singapore's just bought the first proton therapy machine, Novena. It's about twice the price of a normal radiation, but it benefits patients. So what I'm saying is the price performance really has to be looked at. I'm not sure where this will go, honestly speaking. And again, this is a litigation matter, so we'll see the outcome. But what I'm trying to say is... But
will it change your plans for India if in case there's regulation of pricing?
No, we are used to regulation in all our countries.
All right, Doctor, thank you very much for joining in and speaking with CNBC TV.
Thank you.
Thanks.